Let's go straight back into the video. Today's video is why Brick was installed on World War. So, most videos to be on Team Chris. So, Brick gets put onto Team Chris, and in episode 1, Duncan would still quit the comp. Duncan will win no matter what. So, as you get Chris down, I wonder if they want to balance on the goat. I think Brick befriends Tyler, and Tierra and Izzy still swap teams. Noah Owen have their alliance, and I feel like Alejandro would try to befriend Tyler and Brick in an alliance, and Ezekiel still uses the stick. Episode 3 is a Japan episode. Alejandro goes with the monster idea with Noah. I think Cody and Sierra do what they did the original, and Alejandro convinces Harold to quit. So for Alejandro tries to bridge it and gets stuck to a pole. Not a lot to be said there. Episode 5, Broadway Baby. I think Team Amazon and the Mean Grinder, like in the original. 6 Aftermath. So episode 17, South Solution. So I think Brooke would take part in the fighting part instead of Noah. And I feel like Lashana still goes like in the original after slapping Heather. Episode 8, the Amazon race. The Amazon left fight, and Zeus left Tyrus team to follow. The Amazon lose, but it's an elimination round. Episode 9, yeah, playing I Love You. DJ got after episode with this team statue. I think Brick's navigation would make Team Quest 2 better in this challenge. And considering that they already win the originals anyways, there's no reason for me to believe that Lindsay still goes home. Episode 10, News on the Block. Episode 11, Jamaica. So I think Izzy jumps out the plane while it's crashing. And that's more now. And then Alejandro still sabotages the trap he does on DJ originally by punching the trap on before them and getting DJ to lose the challenge. Bye bye team victory. So Duncan's return. And Duncan still comes back. And Noah and Owen find Jack Ripper. I think Brick will make sure Tyler doesn't. I think Brick would go back to save Tyler, but he gets caught. And Teams are back Duncan, so Duncan's second prize. And then Team Victory just lose. Now Alejandro wants to vote for Noah. Duncan was convinced in the original on Tyler. Now I think if Brick, he might be with Noah in this one, and realize Alejandro might not be who he says he is. Or Duncan would side with these guys too. So I think Alejandro still votes off Noah like he does in the original. So episode 14, the kiss still happens. Tyler witnesses. I think Duncan and Gwen. I think it's Heather and Courtney. Owen and Tyler. I think Sierra and Courtney, Owen, Tyler, Owen, and then Heather and Alejandro, and then Alejandro tries to shove still because he's very full of himself, so he crashes to the hills and causes the tiebreaker. So it's Cody and Brooke, and I think Cody would beat Brooke in this tie, considering that Tyler's wig was melted in the original because he was a bigger build than Cody. I think it would be the same situation for Brooke. Everyone votes for Duncan, but it's an elimination. Episode 15, The X-Files. I think Owen gets captured 51. Alejandro and Tyler off together. I think Duncan goes off by himself. I think Dan Courtney's still throwing the challenge. Duncan makes that deal with Alejandro and Tyler. Owen gets freed. I think Brooke is carrying and Alejandro are carrying Duncan. Not Duncan, carrying Owen. I think Tyler. Does he still screw up because Duncan wouldn't be carrying Owen? So I feel like Duncan would carry the Owen instead of Tyler, as there are more people. So I feel like Brick is. So Tyler still screws up, and I think here Brick votes for Alejandro. I think Tyler votes Duncan. Brick votes Duncan. The other three vote Tyler. 16 hour Brick vote is continue. He also starts Owen gets there. So I think Courtney still throws. Gwen loses the tiebreaker. Nomination, and then Blaney joins. And now we're at the merge. So basically our merge remains the same. And Alejandro and Heather. Owen and Blaney. Sarah, Cody. Duncan, Courtney. And then Brooks gets on his own. So he falls, and Duncan and Courtney still win the challenge. Now I think Blaney still reels Owen as the fan favourite here. And I feel like what will happen is Brooke would convince Cody and Heather to vote off Alejandro. I think Alejandro convinces Courtney, Duncan, Sierra to vote off Owens at 4-0, and Blaney also wants to vote off Owen. So Owen votes Alejandro, but he has majority, so I feel like they get rid of Owen like normal. Comes to 20, trying to fake out. I think Brooke makes it equal and Courtney's out. So I think here Heather would be out, Duncan, Blaney and Alejandro are out cheating, Cody's out, Brooke would lose, so I think Sierra is able to still win. Now I think there's a big difference in this summation, and that is Brooke. And Brooke talks to Duncan on how, Duncan and Brooke I feel like would have gotten along pretty well. And he talks to Cody on how Alejandro and Sierra plainly cheated, and they need to get rid of Alejandro and Sierra. As Duncan originally spoke to Owen about, how Noah thought Alejandro was really suspicious. So I do think Duncan in this universe, with Brooke being here, on top of the fact Duncan would have more options to work with, I do think he would get them to vote for Alejandro. Because in the original time when Alejandro cheated like Blaney, it never made a lot of sense to me why he didn't go home. So I think Alejandro and Blaney vote each other. Heather votes for Blaney. So basically, Heather votes Blaney. I think Courtney votes Blaney. Duncan, Sierra votes Blaney. Duncan votes Blaney. Cody and Brick vote for Alejandro. So I think because of Brick's influence, Alejandro and Blaney are actually sent home here. I think that's what happened in universe. I believe Alejandro and Blaney get sent home. So today one's Afghan's ferry. So I think Duncan and Brick are traveling together. Courtney's complaining for ages, and I think here what would happen in episode 20, I think it's still Blaney and Courtney. Episode 21, I think Duncan still gets tripped by Alejandro, but Brick sees this happen, and he's not okay with that, so I feel like he works with Duncan. So these two vote for Heather, but the rest vote off Duncan. Episode 22 is Rafa Phoebe. So it's between Alejandro and Brick now. I think Alejandro still wins the challenge, and they convince Brick to vote off Sierra. Episode 23 is Drumheller. Now, I think in the end, Alejandro has distracted, Brick wins the challenge, and everyone votes for Alejandro, as without Sierra to pull up the plane, he gets eliminated. Episode 24 is an elimination. Episode 25 starts to Hawaii. So Brick has an automatic spot in the finale. So between Cody and Heather, I actually think Cody would make it. And I do think Cody and Brick tag team. So I think Brick and Cody are in the finale. Cody picks Owen and Gwen. I think Brick would pick Tyler. And would he pick Noah? He might pick Noah. I wouldn't say Heather, but he might pick, maybe, I think he picks Duncan. I feel like him and Duncan had a bond. So that's it for you guys watching this semester of season ago. If Brick was a motor, so Brick would have been the finale, which is really cool. And yeah, peace farewell.